Coming up on Look Today, as an investigation into the hit-and-run boating accident on Lake George continues, many are now firmly opposed to Log Bay Day event. I've got details. And the Civic Center in Glens Falls bolsters tourism in the area. We got more on that coming up. Plus, the city of Saratoga Springs deliberates on ways, you ready, to offer better parking. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. In tonight's program, I sit down with Robert Blaze. He's the mayor of Lake George and he's here to talk about the wastewater treatment plant and his career as mayor of Lake George. I also sit down with Justin Fisher and Tim Keir. Now they're two youth pastors. They're here to talk about an upcoming drive to distribute school supplies for children in need. That's happening on August 2nd. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, following the tragedy of 9-year-old Charlotte McHugh's death in a boating accident, many are calling for the annual Log Bay Day event to be permanently canceled. Now, hundreds of boats gather around the bay the last Monday of every July, and most, if not all people at the event consume alcohol. Now, many who do not attend the event are voicing their concerns and raising questions as to what the real value is behind this annual event. Well, these questions certainly raise a good point. Around 20 arrests were made and around 15 tickets were given out. Well, we spoke to Mayor Robert Blaze of Lake George about the event.
Well, I think there's no question it should not even be debatable. The Log Bay Day event has no redeeming value whatsoever to any of the communities around the lake, and the amount of resources that the police enforcement people have to put into that, the location of it with no available restroom facilities, I don't think there's any question in the world that it should be either severely limited or canceled entirely.
Well said. Now, the investigation into 9-year-old Charlotte McHugh's death is still ongoing. The boat that collided with her family's boat ultimately led to her death. The suspects were found, and now testing for alcohol consumption is ongoing. Some tests they can do at the time, and some take longer. Law enforcement is asking for any footage or pictures that were taken at the event prior to the accident to see if they can determine if there was any substance abuse. Now, if you have anything that may assist in the investigation, please contact the Warren County Sheriff's Office. The number is 743-2500. That's 743-2500. I'm sure there was a lot of video taken that day. All right, in other news, tourism and business in the Tri-North counties has been exceptionally good this summer. For the Civic Center in Glens Falls, the summer has been busier than usual. Events at the Civic Center include wrestling, a concert, and a circus. The big events have drawn crowds close to 4,000 people. Now recently, both Warren and Washington counties have been working together to increase tourism in the area. The Civic Center is instrumental in providing downtown Glens Falls establishments with an influx of visitors and business. So we spoke to Jeff Mead. He's the general manager of the Civic Center.
Well, we bring a lot of people into the community. They come to our shows, our events, our hockey games. But they stay in our hotels. They go to the restaurants up in downtown Glens Falls in Warren County. So we think it's great for the community, the local businesses, and certainly our region to come experience our events.
Switching from news to weather. Well, another clear, and you could say hot and humid day. Temperatures remain in the 90s, with some thunderstorms expected maybe overnight. So let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we'll head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. Back to the news. Well, here's a story you're dying to know about. In the city of Saratoga Springs, there are approximately 7,000 parking spaces. Of course, never one when you're looking for one. Well, there's 1,300 on-street, 1,300 off-street, and about 4,200 private parking spaces. And the city's task force is hard at work to figure out how to manage these spaces and improve the parking situation, especially at the height of the summer season. Well, the goal is for the city to create an office of management so the spaces are efficiently utilized. Now, additional parking expected to come to the area is the High Rock parking garage, which will be managed by the Saratoga City Center. However, exactly when the garage will be built has not yet been determined. Now, we're going to keep you updated on this conversation. Let's leave it at that as it gets more complicated. Up next, I sit down with Robert Blaze. He's the mayor of Lake George, and he's here to talk about the wastewater treatment plant and his career as mayor of Lake George. Plus, I also sit down with Julian Fisher and Tim Keir. They're two youth pastors, and they're here to talk about upcoming drive to distribute school supplies for children in need. Now, that's happening on August the 2nd. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea. How about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. Well, I got some lookouts tonight. First one, we have to start tonight where we left off yesterday. It was National Scotch Day, and I'm giving a list of all my Scotch buddies, and I left out Jim Cronin. You can't talk about National Scotch Day without talking about Jim Cronin. So, Jim, you're part of this motley crew of Scotch drinkers, Jack Daniels drinkers. Also, last night, my wife and I go up to Hague, and we're sitting on our porch, and we hear this wonderful sound in there, great guitar playing, great songs, and it was Richie Ortiz. So we recognized the sound, walked down to the park, a lot of people, and Rich, as usual, was playing magnificent music, original songs, and engaging that crowd like nobody else. I also want to comment on Log Bay Day. I've been on the lake for 40-plus years, and I have to agree with Robert Blaze here. I see no redeeming value for this at all. It turns Log Bay into a cesspool. Many years ago, people remember Paradise Bay didn't have any restrictions, and since they stopped that, you can't even anchor in Paradise Bay anymore. It just turned it all around, and I hope that they realize, the powers that be, that there really is no redeeming value in this event. And last but not least, we're playing hooky tomorrow. Not going to school. Decided to give everybody here a day off. So tomorrow night we won't be here. We're going to the lake. And we'll see you Monday then for the stories that matter to you. Have a safe weekend, everybody. See you then. Good night.